But let's go now to Nick Ellerby, Talks reporter down at Gatwick, because the plane yesterday that crashed in India, the Air India Dreamliner 787, with some 260 people on board, crashed as it was taking off. It couldn't seem to get up in the air. The footage has been very disturbing for all to see. You can see it there. The plane looks as though it's actually coming into land, but it was trying to take off, and seemingly they just couldn't get any thrust. They couldn't get up in the air. The wheels were down, and then there was this horrible fireball, and everybody was killed, including some people on the ground, aside from one man. The plane was due to land at Gatwick some hours later, of course. Nick, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
I'm imagining it must be a pretty sombre mood down at Gatwick today. Obviously, that plane due to land presumably late yesterday. What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
In terms of the families of the people who were expecting to welcome their loved ones and friends off that Air India flight A171, it was supposed to arrive here at Gatwick at 6:25 p.m. UK time last night. There is a crisis centre that's been set up for family members. We understand some of them are being supported. I'm not sure how many. I've been in touch with the Gatwick media teams who haven't provided that information yet, but put a request in to find out exactly what's going on. Press. There's a number of press here again this morning. In terms of the mood at Gatwick, Mike, we've had quite a lot of passengers, I think, probably have slightly heightened concerns about flying. We had a few people come up to us and ask us what's happened or what we're talking about today, and sort of, you know, say that they're maybe thinking twice about getting on a plane. But apart from that, really, it's actually kind of business as usual. Ahmedabad Airport reopened just a few hours after the crash yesterday evening. The crash, which came down in a residential district of Megani Nagar, just close to the airport, didn't affect any of Ahmedabad Airport. So interestingly, and perhaps shockingly for some people, that airport was reopened very, very quickly. Here at Gatwick, it was only an Air India flight to Goa last night that was supposed to take off late last night that was cancelled. But in terms of the rest of the flights, there's not a huge knock-on effect to the schedule. And then you mentioned the story, incredible. I mean, it's like something out of a Hollywood film, isn't it? Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a man from Leicester, walked away. There's video footage of him just in Ahmedabad walking away from the crash. We understand from an interview with Sky News, his brother was spoken to, Nayan, in Leicester yesterday evening. He told them that his father had received a call from Vishwas when he was on the runways and just about to take off, and then literally 2 minutes later a video call with his bloodied face saying, I'm here, I've walked away from the crash, there are bodies everywhere, I don't know how I'm alive. You mentioned at the top that Vishwas was sat in seat 11A next to the emergency exit. Tragically, we understand his brother was sat next to him. There's been no news at all about his brother, and we understand that Vishwas was the only survivor out of 242 people on board, some 53 British nationals, 169 Indian nationals, 1 Canadian and 7 Portuguese nationals. We know that the conglomerate that controls Air India, Tata Sons, have offered £86,000 compensation to the family of each person killed in the crash. They're also offering to pay anybody's medical expenses as a result of that. There are lots of people injured on the ground. We know that at least some 200 to 240 bodies have been recovered from that site. That's people who were on the plane and also people who were on the ground. It was a doctor's hostel that the plane landed into. And then the UK Foreign Office have crisis teams both here in London and out in Ahmedabad working with people. People who are wanting to get a hold of any information are told to contact the British Foreign Office, or in Air India themselves also have a number, and that can be found on Gatwick's social media streams.
Yes, and an incredible story, not just because of the fact that he survived the crash itself, but that people say that he might have had to also walk down some flights of stairs in the motel, or the hostel rather, that the plane appeared to land on, which could have been on fire. And seeing him walking there, it's almost unbelievable, isn't it? Because he doesn't even appear to be terribly badly injured.
It's incredible, Mike. I mean, really, we had that because it was obviously the drama of the visual drama of this story of an aircraft coming down like that in a ball of flames. And then we had the Ahmedabad City Police Commissioner, G.S. Malik, quite quickly afterwards coming out to the press and saying that he believed there were no survivors from the air crash. And then very shortly afterwards, the news that one British man was filmed walking away. We understand he has some impact injuries to his chest, to his eyes and his feet. There is a photograph of his face, looks quite badly scratched, but you know, compared to what he's been through, remarkable that he was able just to walk away from that. And these stories about aviation disasters, they always hit home, don't they? Because we always think there, but for the grace of God go I, and Vishwash Kumar Ramesh must be feeling that 100-fold today.
Yeah, absolutely right. Nick, appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Nick Ellerby, Talks reporter down there at Gatwick today, saying that quite a few people are nervous, as people always are after an incident like this, a disaster in the air. A bit more breaking news for the Indian government is considering grounding Air India's Boeing 787 fleet. And you'd have to say, if there is a Boeing 787 taking off anywhere, obviously people are going to be watching it very carefully to see whether there is any problem with the actual aircraft. I mean, so far up until now, the Dreamliner has never had an accident. So this is the first one, but it's a pretty catastrophic one.